was just like sitting there thinking to myself, you can go ahead and give me all the creative direction that you would like for me to know, but after I eat this crab dip, you and I will never be speaking again, because YouTube, I'm Charmaine Jamil, and welcome to my channel where I serve up outfits, meals, and everyday moments with you. So you probably clicked on this video because you saw the title and probably said, what's she got going on? Why is she that beautiful, 40, single, and childless? Well, let me tell you. So the reason I really wanted to record this video is because I went on a date last night. And I'm just gonna be honest with you. Last night was kind of like, I'm not gonna say my final straw, but not in a final straw of where you probably, like your thoughts are probably going, but in a final straw of, I really wanna make a YouTube video about this because I need to get my thoughts out on paper, out in the world, out on YouTube. So there are a couple of things that have happened to me lately, or that I've experienced, where anytime those particular instances happen, it always brought me back to 3 points. And when I say 3 points, this is really kind of how I'm gonna share my thoughts about this particular topic. So I'm gonna break this topic down as far as my response to being 40, single, and childless, because there's nothing wrong with that. And let me just go ahead and add this statement here. You could be 20, you could be 30, you could be 40, you could be 50, hell, you could be 60, childless and single. And guess what? Let me tell you something. There's nothing wrong with that. I, kind of put that, well, is something wrong with that, or is something wrong with society? And honestly, I feel like something is wrong with society. Because after all of these experiences that I'm getting ready to share with you, this is how I've broken down how I feel like if you're kind of in that situation that is similar to me, and kind of just facing that pressure of society, like, oh my God, you're this age, you're single and you're childless, or whatever your situation is, I really thought about it like this. So there's no pressure, but be ready for the moment and in the meantime. So I went on this date last night with this guy that asked me out because, let me go ahead and put this disclaimer out there. I love love. I love everything about it. I love the idea of being in love. I love what can be produced from being in love. I love the idea of partnership, of a healthy partnership. So this video is not to bash the opposite sex. This video is not to say, oh, well, that's not what this video is, because I am a person that loves love. I want to be in a relationship. I want to have children. I want whatever society says for me. However, I'm not going to sacrifice wanting someone who is kind, wanting someone who is respectful, wanting someone who is wholesome, who, is financially secure. I'm not saying this person got to be saved, sanctified, and filled with the Holy Ghost. I would like for you to know the Lord, though. And I'm not looking for perfect, because I can't offer perfect. However, I'm not sacrificing, hey, let me go ahead and just settle and be with this person just to, keep society from saying anything to me, because the world is too ghetto for that. Outside is too ghetto, child, just to be picking somebody and like, okay, yeah, let's just go with you. No, ma'am, I cannot do that. So I went out with this guy last night. He asked me out and he's like, I think you're just so pretty, and I just want to kind of get to know you, kind of like whatever the game is. And I'm like, yeah, sure. So we go to the restaurant, and he's cool. He's a gentleman. He pays, for the dinner. It's like, order whatever you want. And I'm like, okay, sure. So I got me some crab dip and some other stuff. And so, as we're talking, just kind of like shooting the breeze, trying to get to know each other, he's like, so what are some things like, that you like to do? And I was, kind of sharing about wanting to be a YouTuber and sharing my YouTube channel, that whole kind of thing. And this man laughed in my face, okay? And I'm not even joking. Like, laughed, kind of like smirked, like, you really can't, you really don't believe that you're gonna be like some big YouTuber. And I was like, I mean, yeah, I do believe that. And he just kept like going on about how, like that was kind of like crazy, and my thoughts were so far out. And I just was sitting there like, how dare this man that has just, bought all this crab dip and all these appetizers for me tell me this? And so he was like, well, and so he pulls out his phone. He's like, what's your name on YouTube? Let me look you up real quick. And, of course I told him, I was like, Charmaine Jamil. He types it up and he's like, oh, you got a real YouTube channel. He was like, you got subscribers and videos. And I was like, didn't I just tell you that 5 minutes ago? So then his like whole posture kind of changes. And then he's like, well, like if I was in a video, I would do it like this. And I was just like sitting there thinking to myself, you can go ahead and give me all the creative direction that you would like for me to know, but after I eat this crab dip, you and I will never be speaking again, because I just already know anyone who like doubts your dreams, doubts what you're really putting effort into, especially when you're not asking them for anything, and they try to create that doubt and distance between what you really want to do, I feel like that's a dangerous person to be around. On TikTok University, that's what I call it. Some things are good on there and some things you just got to keep scrolling. But I came across this one video of like, I believe it was like a therapist or something like that. One thing that they said that was so profound to me, which I always just kind of like muddle on, they said one of the most dangerous people that you would ever meet is the person that you choose to do life with, your partner, because they have access to you. They have access to your mind. They have access to your life, your body, your finances. That person can really push you to make things better for your life and the quality of life that you experience, or that person can bring all of it down. And when they said that, I was like, you know what? That is one of the most profound things that I have ever heard. And that's why I'm just not really interested in settling and saying, hey, I'm 40, I'm childless, I'm single. You seem to be the right person at the right time because you're buying me crab dip right now. And it's like, no, I can buy myself my own crab dip. But for a person who just kind of sat and laughed in my face when I was really just kind of sharing my hobbies and who I was, because like I said, I really do want to be in a relationship. So I'm being very open to whatever the situation is, but I can just not sacrifice those 4 things that I mentioned. So that's how I came to these 3 categories. So my first category is the no pressure. Now, when I'm talking about no pressure, I am saying it like when certain people are really pushing you that you need to be in what society says, this is the historical standard that you need to be in a relationship. After so many years, you need to get married. Then you have kids. Then, you have the baby in the carriage and live life happily ever after. Because one of my younger cousins recently got married, and my younger cousin is actually 10 years younger than I am. And another cousin was like, well, I wanted to introduce you to this person. She's been trying to like hook me up. And so when I met the person, I was like, no, because I just feel like you as your own individual person, if you vibe with the person or not. Because the guy that she wanted to introduce me to, he was around the same age as my younger cousin that got married, which was like 10 years younger than me. And I'm not saying if you're, to date younger, older, that's your personal preference. However, I have experience in dating someone younger, and I don't got time for that. Like, again, the world is too ghetto for that kind of stuff for me. So I just really didn't, I was just kind of like, I met the guy and then I kind of moved on, in the day. So she was like, well, I was just trying, to help you out. And I was like, but I don't need your help. I'm not looking for a coach to figure out what I want for my life. Now, the funny part is at that same wedding reception, my dad was like, well, why didn't you go out there to try to catch the bouquet? It seemed like you need to be doing something. You need some fire up under you. And I had to kind of nicely put him in his place like, you seriously think me going out there to catch a bouquet is going to obviously magically put me in, a marriage with the baby carriage? It's not. So that's what I mean when I say there is no pressure, because not long after that, I got this message here from a friend on Instagram. Now, I was just talking about a cake on Instagram, this cake, the chantilly cake that I had. And while she was looking at the video, she also put in, you can read it for yourself. She says, I really wish I would have stayed outside a little longer because I just really love looking at you just live your life. So when I saw that, I was like, you know what? That is the key there. A lot of people may fall to the pressure of, well, oh, I just got to get with somebody and, however it is whatever it is. But you really do have that kind of control for yourself to make those decisions for yourself to say, you know what? I'm good with someone. I'm good without someone. But one thing that I'm not going to do is settle and then just turn out and be unhappy. I can't. I can't. I've been depressed before in life, and not because of a relationship, just because of my own, little things I had going on. And depression is not fun, okay? It's not fun, and I don't want to go back there. And I especially don't want to go back there because of dating someone that's not right for me or that's not good for me. But be ready for the moment. So another instance that has happened to me this year, I had my second myomectomy fibroid surgery. So I've had fibroids, didn't know I had that many, but God is good, got all of them out. And let me tell you something, I am thriving without these fibroids, because I'm actually kind of losing some water weight, losing some weight, looking good, skin looking good, all that kind of stuff. But I was so surprised that so many people asked me, are you having this surgery because you're getting ready to have a baby? You want a baby? And I'm like, well, yeah, I do want a baby if I met someone and, we had a baby if I thought that the situation was right. But this is not the sole reason of why I had my surgery. I literally had the surgery for my own health, for my own female health. It's funny because my mom was actually the one that said, now, why are you having this surgery? And I knew what she was getting at, but I was like, is it me or what? I'm having this surgery so that I can improve my own health. So much so, even my gynecologist at the time was like, well, if you want me to refer you to a fertility doctor, we can do that. And, they can set you up with the sperm donor. And I was just like, whoa, wait a minute. I don't necessarily want to go that path. Now, anyone who has gone that path, I think that is awesome because you did something that you wanted to do. But that's not the path that I necessarily want to go down. I value more the family unit, what comes from a family unit, what comes from a relationship, being in a relationship, because that child grows up and you're still left with the partner that you have, because that child is going to go off to live their own life. I know this is going to sound crazy, but motherhood is not as important to me as a partner and family unit. And then a result of that comes motherhood, because I don't necessarily want to do the whole thing by myself, even if it's planned to do it all by myself. That's just not me, because I'm like, look, I was a teacher back in the day. You can see my other videos, and kids need a lot that I just don't know that I would be willing or wanting to give them just by myself for the sake of, well, I want the experience of being a mother. I want the experience of being a mother, but I also want the experience of being in a committed relationship, and that child is a result of the love of the relationship that I'm in. But that's just my personal preference. However, because I did go through with the process of having my fibroids removed, then yes, that is a bonus, that if I do meet someone and I do want to have a baby, that baby don't got to fight with no fibroids. They don't have to try to grow in a uterus that is filled with fibroids, because I don't know if you've looked at my other videos, but I had 12 of them bad boys up in there. So the good thing about it is, it's kind of like I'll be ready if that time comes because I don't have any fibroids, praise Jesus. But that wasn't the point of me having my surgery. The point of me having my surgery was to make sure that I was able to live my life at the optimal health that I could. And I have been living that ever since I had my surgery. So that's why I said, I think it's great to stay ready for the moment, but that doesn't necessarily have to be the forefront, the goals that you're trying to meet. And then I come to my last point, in the meantime. So until I meet the person that I'm gonna be with, if that ever comes, in the meantime, I want to do everything that I want to do. So I read a lot of books. One of the most recent books that I read was The Start With Yourself by Emma Grede. I actually have 2 videos that you could go back and look how I kind of came to the conclusion of reading Emma Grede's book and what it has really encouraged me to do. So it popped up on my news feed about the Create and Cultivate festival that they're having in Los Angeles, where it's just a festival of women who are in business, because that's really where I want to get to. I want to learn more about entrepreneurship, business, marketing, social media, content creation. That's why, I'm really putting a lot of effort into my YouTube channel, because I honestly really love creating these videos and just getting better with my YouTube channel. And I just honestly was like, you know what? I should be in this room. I should be there for this, festival. The funny thing is, when I looked at the dates, I was like, okay, I don't know if I can swing that, because I shared in my last video about all of my travel plans. So in a couple of weeks, I'll be in Monterey, Big Sur, Carmel, California for a week. And then in September, I'm doing Joshua Tree, going to San Francisco. So I've just kind of been doing all of my travel planning. So when I saw the dates for the Create and Cultivate, it actually is the week that I get back from San Francisco. And I was very hesitant. I was like, I don't know, I've already had planned and kind of spent all my money on, this huge California, road trip. I don't really need to be in Los Angeles at no Create and Cultivate. But I was like, but this is something I really want to do. I really want to be in the room, because I want to learn how to do all of the entrepreneur and just really learn with other like-minded people. And especially when I started looking at the tickets. But I thought, you know what, Charmaine, there's nothing holding you back. You are not married. You don't have any kids. Who are you answering to? Are you answering to your doubts, your thoughts? Like, what are you answering to? So needless to say, I went ahead and booked the trip to be at the Create and Cultivate conference in Los Angeles, California, because that is something that I want to do as far as meat is concerned. So it really kind of hit me hard when just this person kind of came and said, hey, I really enjoy seeing you living your life, traveling and going to different restaurants. So I really wanted to record this just to encourage anyone else who may have been feeling that pressure from family, from friends, from society, from yourself, that I'm this age and I'm single and I'm childless and life is not really what I thought it would be. I really encourage you to really focus on your in the meantime. Like, get yourself ready for the moment. Read books about, communication and what it means to be in a healthy relationship. Like, read those books to really get yourself in tune with that, but really focus and pour your energy into yourself for your in the meantime moments. Travel. What is something that you've wanted to do that you've never tried? Like, I think that is where a lot of times where we get down on ourselves, when we don't pour into ourselves or pour into our in the meantime. Because the thing about it is, when you start pouring into yourself and really building yourself up to really meet a lot of these moments, you're going to start meeting people that are like-minded in some of these environments that you put yourself in. And you really start to get a lot more confident in yourself of, this is what I want, this is not what I want. And really telling people, that's your problem. Like, I always say, for people who try to intrude on others to kind of bring in, like, you're this age and you're single and you're childless, it's like, life is so ghetto and so hard that everybody really only has enough time and energy to focus on themselves. So if you are taking the time to try to figure out why I'm, not married, why I don't have children, why I'm not whatever you want to insert here, then you're not taking the time to live your absolute fullest life. And that's just how I look at it, because people who are living their fullest life, they're not worried about somebody else and why they lack or why they don't have or why they're not comparing up to them, because it takes so much effort and energy to focus on yourself. So that is the advice that I feel that I wanted to offer to the YouTube internet, that if you are, insert whatever your age is, and you are feeling some type of way about being childless or being single, I really encourage you to know that there is no pressure, that you just start preparing yourself for the moment, but really pour into your in the meantime. So I really appreciate you tuning into this short video. I just really wanted to kind of share and make you all laugh, but I'm also serious about everything I said. So don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you so much, and I will see you all next time. Peace.